Hello, and welcome to Master Your Life with Kate McKay, a show exclusively dedicated to uncovering the path to excellence through powerful stories of grit, determination, and transformation. I'm Kate, and I am really excited to introduce my guest today, Ania Halama. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me, Kate.
Super glad you're here. So, again, as we talked about a little bit in the pre-show, just really about that path of mastery and what that means. And ultimately, we all have a place, an area of our lives, even the people that don't feel it, that we can claim a sense of mastery of. And again, mastery being the process of excellence. It's not like be all end all, om mani padma, we're on the top of a mountain, but it's this place where we focus a lot of our time, our effort, our healing, our growth, our transformation in. And I'm just so curious. You're doing some amazing work as a spiritual coach, strategist, and also I love, and I can't wait to dig in the concept in regards to spiritual, intuitive, digital art that you do to really help people build brands, personal people and business people. Phenomenal. I just can't even wait to dig into it. But what would be your process, or what would you say your definition of mastery is?
Ooh, that's a good one. So mastery to me means just being absolutely in love and obsessed with whatever that subject is. Me, when there's anything that I find out about, for example, once I got on my spiritual journey, I became obsessed, absolutely obsessed. I started reading all of the books. I took all the classes. I took all the courses. I hired all the coaches. I was like, I'm so into this subject, whatever it is, whether it's spirituality, marketing, sales, whatever it is for you, like engraving your entire life around it and spending your entire life around it. So once I got on this spiritual path, like I took all the courses, I got certified in absolutely everything and anything. But I do that because like not every person that I work with has the same exact problem. I love having this different toolbox, and being a master at something, that's exactly what it is to me, is having that toolbox of different things. So whoever you're working with, you can bring up, okay, this person needs A, this person needs B, just so you can have that knowledge of everything. And you essentially become a genius in your own skin of whatever it is that you are mastering. For me, it's spirituality.
Oh, that's so good. Well, you said a couple things. What I love, first of all, is why do you think us as a culture, we so move away and shy away from being obsessed? Because I think that is a key piece of success is an obsession, right? Wouldn't you say?
I think so. I think you and I are a little different, being Leos over here. So we really do get obsessed and spend all day, every day learning as much as we can. It's funny, when I learned about human design, I literally like shut myself in a room for 4 days and studied all day, every day about human design. And I'm not an expert at it by any means, but I'm mastering it as I go. I'm still going towards it. And it's beautiful. Yeah, as a society, it might be like, oh, you're spending too much time doing this. But I think it has a negative connotation because of how society treats us and how we grow up. It's like, oh, I'm obsessed with video games. Like, yeah, that could be a negative, but you could also be obsessed with reading books, like mastering that, whatever it is. Hey, like nothing wrong with if you play video games, you master that, you're making money off of that. Hey, if you're doing your thing, you do your thing. But it looks like, oh, it's a bad thing because I'm spending so much time doing something that a lot of people think of it as like a negative connotation. Video games, for example, where like if you spin it around and I want to really, truly master video games, you can. But how are you being in service? How are you elevating yourself? How are you elevating your life doing this thing that you're really obsessed with?
Key operative word right there is elevation. Absolutely.
Yes.
Beautiful. So let me ask you a question, because oftentimes as we evolve as human beings, particularly as children and being bright lights, how did you deal with the world telling you personally if it happened to you, you're too bright, you're too loud, you're too upbeat, you're too friendly, you're too this? Did you have that experience?
I did. I'm a Leo, so I have a personality I'm also 5 feet tall, so I have way too big of a personality for my own good. So
Thank
everyone's
God.
like, how do I know I need to fill it like the Napoleon complex, but the opposite of it essentially.
Right.
So I've always heard like, oh, you're too wild, you're too crazy, you're too outspoken, you do all of these things. I mean, like as a child, it took me a little bit back. I was like, am I really like, I'm just gonna keep on drumming and dancing to the beat of my own drum. But now as an adult, I'm like, this is me. Like you take it or leave it. I'm not for everyone. And I don't want to be for everyone. Like whoever is going to love me is going to love me. I'm also a projector in human design. This is my energy. Take it or leave it.
Right. That's so good. And what would you say to people that are feel in that place of self-judgment? Because I think that's where a lot of where people get stuck, not feeling as though they could move into that with that level of confidence. So what would you advise them?
Yeah, so this goes into a lot of the work that I do, actually. So I help people with those problems that they have, whether that's worthiness, confidence, self-body image, and there's different tools that I use with my clients. For example, one of my all-time favorite tools that I use is EFT tapping. And EFT tapping, if someone's not familiar with it, we all have these meridian points down our bodies, similar to acupuncture points, but instead of using needles, you're using your fingers and to tap all around your face and all around your body. It moves energy in your body. You start off with negative affirmations and then you end with positive affirmations. You look at the judgment, the worry, the imposter syndrome, the whatever you're trying to get past. You have to look at it in the eye. It's funny, like sometimes I'll get clients and they're like, that triggers me to look at the darkness of it. I'm like, you need to acknowledge the darkness. You need to acknowledge what the actual root of the problem is in order to work through it. So you would do a tapping series and then work through that. So that's one of the tools. Meditation is another one. I actually have and if you allow me, and I'm sure you will, I actually have a really beautiful meditation that I have as a freebie that I give away. It's called the Badass Confident Babe meditation. So it allows you to connect it to that confidence within yourself. Like you'll see it dispersing and all of a sudden you start gaining all of this confidence. It is literally one of my all-time favorite meditations it was my first channeled meditation as well. So I'm very proud of it. I love it. I'm happy to put that in the show notes as well. They could download it for free.
Oh my gosh, I
so
love
using different tools, and like I said, like I have a whole toolbox of things depending on what the problem is for a particular person, whether that's wordiness, imposter syndrome, whatever. We can bring up all of these different tools and work through some of those emotions.
So if someone came to you, or just a person on the street, because I know you work with both men and women, what would you say to them? Where is the place to begin? Like if they just don't sense it at all, you see it in their body language and everything else. What would be your quick, hey, what would you say to that person to bring all this beautiful enthusiasm and energy into people to help them begin or to instill the light?
Yeah, just be you. Like, do not be afraid to be you. A lot of the time we dim our lights because of, again, what society tells us. Oh, you're too loud, you're too this, you're too this. And a lot of the time, especially as children, like we grow up in a society where we don't have to. We start dimming that light and not really paying attention to what it is our true core self needs. And then I would just give them probably a few exercises. We would do some tapping series, maybe some breath work as well, to really feel into your body, feel into, yes, I am worthy, I am beautiful, I am all of this, to allow that light to start coming through.
And I think that it's so bizarre to me, but I think that in our society, men have been not treated that, allowed themselves to be able to say, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy. It's a whole new language. I find that to be a really powerful conversation. It's like, why wouldn't you buy a dude flowers? You know what I mean?
That's
like,
great.
I always give my children little vases of flowers. I have 2 boys and a girl. I always left them little vases of flowers by their bed. I never determined why he's a boy and he's a girl and I wouldn't give him flowers. Like, that just seems so bizarre to me, but
I love that. Yeah. I think it's, in general, things are shifting a little bit more as we're shifting as a collective in general. Men are starting to realize, like, yes, every single person does have masculine and feminine energy. It doesn't matter if you're a male, female, binary, non-binary, whatever it is nowadays. Like, it's everyone has that energy within ourselves, both masculine and feminine. And when we balance both of them, that's when magic happens. So it's really fascinating. I've started working with some of my male clients on this recently, is masculine or is balancing their feminine energy, because they're so, like, especially high performance males that I work with, like, they're CEOs, they're entrepreneurs, they're such constantly in that hustle. Like, I'm a CEO, I'm a badass, I'm this dominant man that's like rocking the world, but I have this soft inner spot. My inner child isn't loved. Like, I need holding, I need love. How can we balance that so you can go on day to day and have that balance be the masculine hustle male, but then also allow things to flow into your life as well? I think as things are shifting as a collective, as men are starting to learn that, yes, we also have the feminine energy, and yes, we can play, we can turn to pleasure, we can turn to happiness, we can turn to beauty. I think things are slowly starting to shift.
I do too. I agree with you. And I'm so grateful for that. I also think that there is going to be a call for women to let go of control, because I think in a lot of ways that there has been, for me, like, I raised kids. And so a lot of my environment I was always in shock by how so many women treated their men as children. Like that, the eye roll in our culture, on TV, it's like men are they're simple, they're this, they're that. So this is ingrained part of our culture, but this is going to require women to step up and let go of some control.
Yes, surrender.
And so I'm curious, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think women in general, we have a hard time. I think people in general, not specifically women, but people in general have a hard time surrendering to the unknown, because they want to control everything. They're like, oh, this needs to happen at this time. And like, we time block things, and we're, especially as entrepreneurs, we're like, go, 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 like that hustle mentality. But like, what if all of a sudden you get a call at noon and it's like, hey, do you want to grab some lunch? I have a possibly, and it turns into this beautiful, elaborate dinner, lunch, whatever, and a possible new client. You're like, I didn't expect this. Surrender to what is to come, surrender to that flow, be open to possibilities and to opportunities coming your way. That's what a lot of people just aren't open to. We want to control everything, every minute of our single day. Like, we're in our calendars all day. Like, this is my Virgo, like I color block everything. I'm like super organized, but that's part of control. We want to control every single aspect of every single day. We can't. Allow that flow to come, and you'll be surprised what happens. The universe, once you surrender and allow that flow to come, like, you'll be so surprised at the beauty and the magic that starts popping into your life.
Right. Why do you think that is, that people are afraid of letting go, Ania?
I think people are just used to being in their comfort zones, like being so like, I'm used to this. This is easy for me. People don't like looking at their pain. It's like, ooh, let go of whatever. I need to let go of this old bag that I have, let go of this old partner, let go. Like, I'm going to have to change my entire website. I'm going to have to do this. Like, I'm going to change my phone numbers. And like, that's scary. And we don't like looking at scary, but take that step back and look, like, at the other side of the door, once you actually open that box, like, it's magic happens. Remember, everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer of that. Acknowledge that bad things can happen. Like, sometimes you're in the ground, like in a dark night of the soul, like crying all day, and that's okay. But pick yourself up, babe. You've got this. You're a badass. You're going to get through this. And if you can't, like, we're going to help you. Re-listen to some of these podcasts, or re-listen to Kate's podcast, my podcast, all of them. You've got this, babe.
Right. And so a big part of that is the community build, right? So did you always have that sense of, like, you had people around you to support you? Because this is what I said. I actually wanted to go back to what you said at the beginning about when you became obsessed in something, you hired the people, you bought the programs, you spent the resources and the time on mastery. I think oftentimes people will say, hey, Kate, you've had so much success. Ania, you've had so much success. You know, how did you do it? And I always say, I spent money and time. This didn't just happen. I become less tolerant of people just being like, oh, that could never be me. And I'm like, how much money, if you looked at your budget, how much money do you spend? Do you have a coach? How much money do you spend on your own personal and professional development?
That's for sure.
That's a huge part of the journey. And I really wanted to thank you for talking about that, especially on the obsessive path. The path to mastery requires effort. It requires resources.
And it also requires desire. Like, that's another thing. Like, a lot of people, they're like, yeah, I want to master this, but they don't want to put in the work. If you want something so badly, you know it's going to change your life. There's a great quote, and I can't remember the whole thing. It's like, look at yourself 1 year from now. Where are you going to be? In what spot? Are you going to be in the same exact spot, or are you going to be better? All it takes is 1 year. Not even that. Everyone has a year. I mean, it's already August. Let's be real. Like, where did this time go? Like, if you started in January, where would you be 8 months from now? It's already August. How much do you desire that change? How much do you desire to master this, to be the best at X, Y, and Z, whatever it is? How much does your soul call for this? How much do you truly, really desire that?
Well, it's easy for people who are as enthusiastic for us. So people are going to look at you and I and go, yeah. I'm not like you, Ania. I don't even know what I want. Blank stare, no idea, doesn't know what makes me happy, doesn't know. I mean, part of it is, yes, there's a malaise and a disconnection. Part of it is a mental health challenge, potentially. But what's the way in? What's the way out of that to tap into that light? And it won't always look like this, like you and I, right? And I think that's the piece that people like, I want to feel more confident, Kate, right? I'm sure you hear that all the time. But what would you say to that person that has no idea even what you're talking about desire, about except maybe sexual desire or desire to feed a physical hunger, but outside of that, they're tapped out?
So I say our entire lives, the universe gives us these little hints of what we desire. You were a child, you really liked the moon, you wanted to be an astronaut. Maybe you're actually meant to be like an astrologer, possibly. You loved playing with rocks. Maybe you're a crystal healer, actually. So the universe like gives us all of these hints our entire lives. For example, I was very artsy growing up. Like, I went to a specific art school. Most people took like ballet or piano classes. I went to art school. I'm very artsy.
Have you gotten your copy of Claim Your Inner Warrior? It is my newest book, available now on Amazon. The book is directly geared towards men and the women who love them. Grab your copy today.
The universe gave me hints like, this is what you are meant to do. Now I'm an intuitive digital artist. I've mixed spirituality with my art side. So just start tapping into and playing with what are your interests? What are your likes? Do you like rocks? Do you like astrology? Do you like art? Do you like music? Do you like talking to people? Are you outspoken? Maybe you should start a podcast. Like, start dabbling with the things that you've always been attracted to. You have it within yourself. You got it in you. Start playing with some of those things, whether it's writing, music, pianos, going on walks, whatever it is. It was funny. Someone was telling me the other day that they recorded this man who works with Nike. He's a professional barefoot walker. I'm like, what is that? That's wild. He just loves walking barefoot, made a profession out of it. That's what he loves. Start tapping into those things that you truly love, and that's where your desires will come from.
And it comes back to really asking yourself or having someone ask you powerful questions. Like, I would just say to the viewers and listeners right now, start making a list. What do you love? Can you list 5 things?
Yeah. So there's I believe it's by Dean Graziosi. Don't hold me to it. It might be a Napoleon Hill Foundation. There's an exercise that goes 7 levels deep of what do I want? What do I desire? So you ask 7 times, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And the first things could be very like whatever, like, oh, I want a nice car. I want a fancy house, like very egotistic. once you get past the ego, get to layer 3, 4, 5, and you keep asking, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? At the end of the day, you will find what it is that you truly desire. If you take away that ego, take away all the monotony of everything going around you, that is your core desire of what you truly want. 7 levels deep, check it out. I believe it's Dean Graziosi.
I love that. Also, just understanding also too, so what you want, but also I have an exercise in my book, Claim Your Inner Warrior, my book for men, about getting your needs met. And I remember asking a man, I said, it was a friend of mine, and he was telling me, no, like in a story. And I said, dude, what do you need? And he looked at me like he thought I was kidding. And he was like, look down, look up, look down. And I'm like, no, like, what do you need? And he goes, oh, Kate, that's an interesting question. He thought it was a joke. And I was like, wow. So I created an exercise of, these are a bunch of needs. Just circle a few. You know, we do word searches when we're kids. Yeah. This is a tool, right? So I'm obsessed about tools like you are. It's like I'm obsessed. And so there are different modalities. And I would say, look at your obsession, look at what you want, right? What you love, and then really figure it out. The core self is, what do you need? Ultimately, our needs satisfy that core sense of our worthiness.
Yes.
Right. And then be willing. So I say, you're worthy. I ask people, do you feel worthy? Are you willing? And are you capable? And capability means oftentimes learning new skills, boo. Ania,
yes,
we always have to be learning new skills. That's the only way for us to grow. Ania, when you reference that, like out in a year, what is it you want? No matter what your age is, what skills do I need to develop to get there? We get comfortable, like you were saying, in our present state. We always have to be learning and growing. I'm learning accounting and spreadsheets. You know, I don't love it, but you better believe if I want to 10x my company, I better learn it ACEs, hands down.
That's for sure. Yeah. But we're always learning. We're always growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. So, I mean, we're avid lifelong learners. Like I am for sure. I consider myself a lifelong learner. I will keep learning until the day that I die. Whether that's like, oh, I'm going to learn how to fix a tire today. I don't know. I really don't know how to do that, but maybe that's something I could learn. Or reading a brand new book on spirituality or accounting or whatever. We need to put ourselves outside of our comfort zone so that we can keep growing, keep shining, and keep elevating ourselves. So we're the best versions of ourselves that we can be, not only for us, but for the people that are in our lives and in our circles as well.
Oh boy, say that again.
Elevate yourself so you can be the best version of yourself, not only for you, but everyone around you as well.
Right. That is just, we could just be like, all right, that's it. Thank you, Ania. Here's her Academy Award. No, legit. So you're younger than me, but where do you think we're going as far as a culture, as far as community? I'm so curious about where you see this evolution. And you would ask people my age, and I just believe that's why I love younger people and why I coach with a lot of younger people, because I believe you and your generation have a higher level of conscious understanding, came into the world with it.
Yes.
Way more than people in my generation. Like we had to work for it, but you just were birthed through it. And part of it is that you're birthed into a greater understanding of suffering, Ania, right? You get it. There is a greater level of suffering awareness where you understand that's not just you can't deny it. So you are here to ignite people to face that. So where do you see? It's so beautiful what you do. I completely honor you.
Thank you. And I love, there's this one quote that says, we need to do the healing in this life so that future generations ahead of us don't have to do it. And I love that. That touches me so much because this is why I do a lot of the work that I do, is so my children and the children after that, I mean, everyone younger than me, they don't have to do the work. Like it is encoded in our DNAs and it transfers from parents to grandparents to like the lineage. So we do all the healings, work on ourselves, and not necessarily healings, but just the work on ourselves so the future generations can have a better life. As far as community goes, we are in the age of the Aquarius right now, which is all about community. It's all about that, like connecting connecting to that feminine and connecting to community. Like you and I were plugged in through a community as well. And that's how you and I connected. And it's so beautiful to be able to, at any time of day, be like, send a text to our group chat and be like, hey, I have a problem with this. I need your support with this. Who can help me? Because we need to start speaking up about what we truly need help with. Like, that's something that is like some of that submission that a lot of women go through. They're afraid of asking for help. Men as well, like both men and women. Goodness gracious.
Good
like,
golly, Miss Molly.
Yes. So why can't we ask for help? It's okay. Like, we cannot build a 7-figure business by myself. No way. We need support. We need help. This is what I need. This is the skills you have. This is the skills I have. How can we come together as a community? I'll scratch my back, or I'll scratch your back. You scratch my back. That kind of thing. It's the rise of the feminine, rise of the collective, like age of the Aquarius, all about community.
Yeah, it's so true. So if people feel like they don't have a community, and listen to me, I'm asking for steps and tools, because I can't help it, because you are such a magnificent resource. What would you say to people that feel isolated and alone, Ania?
100% join a Facebook group. There is literally a Facebook group for anything and everything. Yes, Facebook for Business is a crazy thing in itself right now, but that's besides the point. But there's a Facebook group for anything and everything. Like, if you are grieving, for example, your husband or your wife died, if you're grieving, there's a support system out there. It's on Facebook. There's tons of groups out there. Go on facebook.com, look at groups, grieving groups. Start plugging into them. Start reading through the comments. You'll be surprised how many people are going through the same exact thing that you are. If there's a comment, a post that you resonate, reach out to that person. Send them a message. Be like, hey, I read your post in this grieving group. I just wanted to connect, to chat. Like, maybe we could be our little support buddy. Maybe we can start a little support group or whatever in ourselves that's smaller. Maybe move to WhatsApp, get 10 people, and we like hold ourselves accountable, like doing X, Y, and Z. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, because someone else is going through that same exact pain as you are, that same exact process as you are, and they're just waiting for you to reach out. Maybe they're afraid to reach out as well. Go out and do it.
Well, the statistics show that, most people are waiting to be led. Right. So take the initiative. I actually would with my
We're
male
in
clients.
Leo season right now. So be a leader.
Be a leader. Right. But I actually even have one of my clients last week. I said, all right, who are the 3 people that you're going to reach out to and acknowledge with a text or an audio text or whatever? And he's like, oh, good question. And he did it. And he messaged me. He goes, I feel so great, because he was feeling isolated, because he felt like he didn't know where to lead. And I said, one text, one call, one smile at a time.
You'll be surprised at who's waiting for that text or call on the other end. You will be surprised.
It's going to change your life.
And theirs too.
Change that person. Absolutely. So absolutely true. So tell me more. I'm very, very curious about your branding work. First of all, obviously, I'm going to share all of your information, Ania, in the show notes, including how people can reach out to you. But what is the way to which you do your spiritual work in the digital art space? Really curious about this.
Yeah. So my background is in graphic design and marketing. That's what I went to school for. That's what I worked in corporate America for over 10 years doing, graphic design and marketing. And that was my first love. Then I fell out of love with it, because corporate America, like putting me in a box, I wasn't creative. I wasn't able to like design beautiful things. Everything had to be structured. Everything had to be like by the brand guideline of that company. And I was like, this isn't fun at all. So I took a step back from designing for a long time. And once I got on the spiritual path, I started learning about the Akashic records. And the Akashic records are anything that's ever the book of life, essentially, anything that's ever existed. Current lives, future lives, past lives. You could go into the records of yourself, your house, your business, your cat, your dog, whatever. You can go into the records of anything and everything that exists. So I was like, that's fascinating. What if I go into someone's records of their business? I'm very clairvoyant. Like when I channel, I see, and I'm also very claircognizant, which is inner knowing. And like I do these things called soul portraits, where I would read the energy of your soul. You would send me a photo of yourself, read the energy of your soul, do a little reading, and then design this beautiful portrait that you can print out on a canvas. And they're stunning, stunning. So I was like, all right, I'm doing this. What if I go into the records of someone's business, which is getting into the core root and the soul of your business, really go in there, and based on what I see with my third eye, design a beautiful brand, your logo, social media posts, your website. And then it's truly coming from the soul of your business. It's not coming from my ego. It's not coming from your ego. You want colors purple and yellow together. No, that's the ego. What does the soul of your business want? The true soul of it. And then I designed this beautiful work, these branding pieces, whether that's logos, websites, social media posts, or whatever. But it truly is something that's the soul of your business. And I love doing them.
It sounds so beautiful. And I would love it. We will share connection because I'm such a visual person. Of course, I want to get off this call and go search you and search your beautiful things. So what do you love? What do you
I love traveling.
Yes.
That is my passion. We talked about this a little bit pre-show. I am nomadic. I've been nomadic for almost 7 years now. One day I was in that corporate rut. One day I just picked up, said, F all of this, quit my job, sold my car, sold my apartment, put everything in storage. I've been traveling ever since. It's been 7 years. I usually stay in each country about 3 months. I love learning new cultures, about new people, eating foods, drinking local wine, talking to locals. We get so caught up in America. It's like, oh yeah, this is the way of living. No, why don't we explore and see what else is out there? The world's such a beautiful, magical place. Why not explore and learn? Again, goes into that whole lifelong learning. Learn about other cultures and other people. You'll be surprised what you learn from someone if you just put yourself in that situation and be open to learning.
Being open. I love that. And what, if you don't mind sharing, do you have a favorite failure?
Many of my past businesses.
Right. I hear that. So what would you say, your favorite, personal, professional, doesn't matter. And really what I'm speaking of is this pivotal moment where you were just it was a disruption, or it was just unfreaking enough.
Yeah. So I, about a year ago, it was last October, November, more or less, I was going through a really hard time in my business. I literally locked myself up in my hotel room in Mexico for 4 days, and I cried all day. I was like, enough is enough. I had clients jumping off left and right. I let go of a mentor as well. And I felt like everything is a mirror. Everything is a direct reflection of the energy that you put out there. Because I let go of this mentor, I had clients jump off as well. And it was one after another. I went from 15 clients to 3 within a week. I'm like, what is going on? That. And then my accounts got hacked. And I was just in a dark moment. I'm like, what is going on? I literally, dark night of the soul, I cried for 4 days straight in a hotel room in Mexico. I was, but I needed to go through that. It's those times that are some of our lowest that get us to our highest. It's you went through this for a reason. I needed to let go of those clients to make room for better clients. At the time, it didn't seem like it. It was everything is crashing and burning on me, but I needed to let go of that to allow the beauty that is meant for me to come through.
So good. Anyone else listening, viewers? Amen, right? I got 2 hands up. Man, I feel that. And it takes courage. It takes great courage to let go. And I think that that's a big piece, that if we're thinking that 90% of the population, from a psychological and a spiritual perspective, are not actually spending any time doing personal development work or spiritual work. That's the real statistic, Ania. So you and I were in the space. It seems yeah, right on. But what do you think is the way that the people who are listening to this, or the people that are living in this space, how are we creating bridges for others? What would be your suggestion of how we can create bridges for others? And instead of just saying, I'm gaining knowledge, but how can we be bridges to healing and growth and light and enthusiasm?
Start sharing that knowledge, because the knowledge is only as good as the knowledge in your head. Keep sharing it. Go out there. Tell one person about a book that you read that really changed your life. Put a recommendation. Go back into those Facebook groups. Say like, I just read this amazing book by Ania or Kate or whoever. I just read this amazing book. I think you guys should pick it up. I think you would like it. Start sharing some of the stuff that you're learning and implementing it into your life. Because if you truly want to transform your life, you need to start implementing these things. Like, it could all be knowledge in your head, but unless you're actually taking action, none of it is going to happen.
And it's not fulfilling.
Yes.
Not
For me, at least. I don't care. You do whatever you want. Like, I'm still going to keep getting knowledge and then sharing it.
Right. So just be a conduit to knowledge. And I think the bottom line is we can Google anything, but the magic is really in understanding that it's your heart and the way you interpret and experience it and the way you communicate it that creates the magic.
Yeah. And we could Google anything, but are we mastering it?
Right.
We need to master it and share it with others. Like, everyone is eager to learn. Start sharing some of the knowledge that you truly are learning.
It's so inspirational. Boo, it's such a wild thing to be around somebody that's like a mirror of me in a way. And I feel like I'm not alone, Ania.
Yes, we are not alone.
It's so good. It's so good. And I would say, just because I'm older than you, I always felt that I was, because I was in a gym when no women were there. I always did everything different than everyone else around me because I was like, that doesn't feel right. Yep. And even grief. And I love it that you brought up the whole idea behind the work that we're doing now is saving future generations. Like, it's not enough just to heal your past for you. You're doing it energetically for future generations. And I think that that's a beautiful thing to take on, and understanding that takes some personal responsibility and really is the only way back to love, is understanding that forgiveness is the place that brings us here, and taking responsibility for different action leads us forth.
And that's what it is. Love makes the world go around. So connecting back. Also, we're still in Leo season, all about that love, that heart-centeredness. Like, connect to your heart. Like, your heart truly knows what you desire, what you want out of life, connecting back into your inner being.
So beautiful. So I'm going to ask you one final question, which I love to ask. If you had a billboard, and I know potentially...
have you heard?
So obviously, yes, you've had a billboard. And so I want you to tell me a little bit about that book and a little bit about that project so that people can find that. And Rhonda's amazing. And the second piece of that is, if you could do a billboard that had an expression of something that you wanted everyone to know, what would that be?
Ooh, an expression of something I wanted everyone to know. Probably that you can do, be, and have anything you've ever desired. Don't let any naysayers bring you down, because at the end of the day, we regret the things that we did not do. We don't regret the things we did, the things we did not do. So go out there and do it.
Beautiful. And if you don't mind talking a little bit about your other project, I'm super excited about hearing that.
Billboard. So I am a part of the Women Gone Wild movement, which is a beautiful movement for women to all come together to inspire other women, whether that's women in Africa. We're on a mission to help inspire 8 million women in 8 years. And it's starting, it's moving. We're sharing our stories, what we've been through. W stands for wealth, I stands for intuition, L stands for leadership, D stands for diversity. I'm in the wealth edition, talking all about manifesting wealth and just really sharing stories of inspiration, how we got to where we are today, so that you can start taking away some of these tools as well. And we did just have a Times Square billboard last month, and it was freaking incredible. I
saw it. It was so incredible. I was in New York filming that NASDAQ gig with
amazing.
Had so much fun. So we're just grateful for obviously this community that I moved into. We're not alone, peeps. You're
always connect to a community, find a community. There's a community for cyclers, a community for people that like bananas, whatever. Find your community, find your people. They're out there. You just have to do the work.
It's so good. That's so good. Well, thank you so much. And again, everything about you, Boo, will be in the show notes. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the beautiful, courageous work you're doing in this world. And thank you for being so 150% in your light so that we can all transform with you and through you. I just want to say I'm deeply grateful for this time.
Thank you so much for having me, Kate. It's been lovely.
And thank you to all the listeners on Master Your Life. I'm Kate McKay. And until next time, be in your light, keep shining, and take good care and enjoy this day.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Master Your Life. If you enjoyed this episode, please like this and share it so that you can get notices for the next episode, releasing every week.
Are you ready to open your heart, align with your ideal clients, and finally live full of abundance and purpose? Maybe you've been looking to work with someone who will allow you to wake your soul up so that you can step into the abundant badass self that you are. I am opening up applications to work with me so that we can work on your spiritual wealth so that you can finally start attracting more abundance into your daily life. Apply to work with me by going to bit.ly/Ania Halama application or in the link in the description. I look forward to working with you.